my expertise is relationship science. And the beauty of science is that if you can change the formula, you change the result. It seems so simple, but it literally changed my marriage.
There's gender differences here as well, because of my friends, both women and men, I know for a fact that my male friends usually just push for like an easy life.
Yeah.
They just want, if their partner's expressing emotional feelings or is expressing their emotions towards them, most of my male friends will see that as an attack, And like, they just don't want to go there. It's this energy that men just don't like. So I was watching this funny Twitter video before I came down here, and it's this woman, she's cooked dinner for her husband and she's proving that men just won't tell you the truth. She puts loads of salt in it to make it taste awful. And she walks into the front room while he's watching the game and she goes, "Try this, hun, tell me what you think." And you see his face just wink and it's fucking disgusting. And he goes, "Yeah, good." And for me, it summed up men. It's like, we just want to avoid the heat. Like,
we literally. But so I have a theory on this, right? So I'm testing this one out, right? But I call it the feedback loop theory. So my wife was in HR before she joined me in the matchmaking space. And one of the things that they would do in their company, she worked in this law firm, is that they would, extensive feedback during the review period, extensive feedback. So, how was your year? How did you perform? All of these KPIs, right? And that feedback would translate into higher performance. I mean, just bottom line. And what I've noticed with women, typically with women, is that whenever there's a romantic experience, that romantic experience is then shared with like 10 of their friends. It's like, go out on a date. The WhatsApp group knows everything that's happening on the date. And then there's a debrief of the date. There's an analysis of the date. Here's what he did. Here's what I wore, blah, 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 blah. And this happens for 3 days. Constant feedback. And that feedback ends up making women, I think on average, better daters, right? Better equipped to deal and manage in relationships. Now, Stephen, when you were single, tell me this. If you were going on a date, right, who did you talk to about the date?
Nobody. Yeah.
See,
I just go, yeah.
It's all in your head. It's like, okay.
I might tell one of my friends, I might say, "Oh, I saw this person the other night," when I was single. I would have gone, I saw Ruby like 3 days ago and it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "All right, cool."
Yeah, and that's it. And then that's move on. Yeah.
And that's it. There's no feedback. And think about this. Think about not that just happening on one date, but that happening month after month, year after year, 10, 15 years of no feedback. We're all in our head. We have no idea, like, how to perform, how to up our performance. And that impacts what happens when we eventually get into the relationship. So I think the feedback loop, there's really something to it. And I've noticed it's primarily a gender difference.
So are you saying also that because women have a community where they're discussing stuff, they're discussing feelings and what happened and da-da-da-da-da-da, they try and bring that same energy to a man who's just not used to it? And he goes, "Fucking hell, like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean?" And he's just like trying to avoid going there because he's never really had to go there before.
Never had to. When you dig into the data, and this is what I love about love, like in particular, I always say that my expertise is relationship science, right? I like to look at the science of love and look at how that impacts how we show up and why we show up. And the beauty of science is that if you can change the formula, not necessarily the formula, if you change the equation, right, you change the result. And that's the beautiful thing. So if you are someone who is in a relationship and you're unsure how to communicate, there's certain things that you could change to make the communication stronger and make the relationship better.
Tell me what those are.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Yeah. What are the like foundational things that have worked for you and your clients in terms of like communication, conflict resolution? Okay,
great question. Okay, so a couple things, and even with not only with my clients, but with my wife. So this seems so basic. I think it's talked about, but not even talked about enough, is Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. It seems so simple, but it literally changed my marriage. So there's something called the 5-year itch and the 7-year itch, typically in marriages, not committed relationships, but marriages, where you literally see separation rates and divorce rates increase at that 5 and 7-year mark, right? You also see it happen when you become empty nesters. Kids go off to school. But right around that 5 and 7-year mark, I was sleeping on the couch at my house. Like, it was not good, in our household. And this was so small, but so significant, is I bought Dr. Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, right? Which outlines, right, 5 ways that we recognize and see love. But here was the power of it. The power of it was that my wife, I thought she was spoiled because all she wanted was gifts. Like, she was like, buy me this, buy me that. It's my birthday, buy me this. It's Christmas, buy me this. It's Monday, buy me this, right? It was buy me, right? And I thought to myself, Jesus, she's spoiled. Like, this is crazy. So what do? Stephen, I bet you would do the same thing. You know what I did?
What?
I said, I'm not gonna buy you anything, because you're spoiled. I'm gonna change this behavior. I'm not gonna buy you a thing. So what happens when it's her birthday, it's Christmas, it's the anniversary, it's Monday, and I'm not buying her anything? Oh man, like hell, it becomes hell. But it was Dr. Gary Chapman's book that helped me understand that the way that my wife grew up, the way that she saw love through her parents were through gifts. Her father spoiled her to death, right? And her father loved her and showed his love, showered his love through gift giving. So she, as a little girl, is growing up thinking, okay, I get the doll, I get this, right? This is love, this is love, this is love. Her love language is legitimately gifts. I had to understand that fundamentally, to understand that this is how she will see that I love her. It's not just simply through maybe what's, acts of service, which is my love language.
And mine.
Right? Do something on my behalf.
Yeah.
Right? So I would do something on her behalf, right? But no, it's gifts. And then for her to know, okay, for me, it's acts of service. So if she was big on gifts, giving me gifts. And I was like, I don't resonate with this. I don't get this. And so truly understanding your partner's love language, and then giving them love in that language is a game changer. And a quick way to determine someone's love language is just observe how they show love to the people they love, right? What do they do, right? That's a quick way. So love languages, game changer, right? So that's one. Secondly is to understand that you need to argue, right? But great relationships are bids. You're putting in bids. It's a constant tennis match. That's a great relationship, constant tennis match. So what that means is that you are showing through your action, through your love language, through your words, etc., but you're showing that you love your partner, and you're doing that consistently over and over and over and over and over again. And what your partner is going to be doing is they're going to hit that ball back to you. And you're going to hit that ball back to them. But you have to remember this one thing. Sometimes you have to hit the ball 5 times over, right? The net, before they return the ball to you. And ultimately what that means is that you have to consistently remind your partner. So you could be, I'm 21 years into my marriage. People think, all right, you're 21, you're good. You don't have to do anything now, right? It's smooth sailing. No. When I get home today, I am still showing up, recognizing that I have to continually put those bids in. I always say it's like Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? That's truly what a relationship is that it's this constant, right? And then part of that constant too, and maybe this is just a third concept, super simple, but intentional time, intentional time. So what I find really interesting is you look at how much time we spend with our partners or our spouse. It's 1 to 2 hours a day. On average, the average married couple spends 1 to 2 hours per day. So you think about that. You're probably spending more time with the bus driver than you are with your spouse. And then in the 1 to 2 hours, what are you actually doing? It's like ships passing in the night. No real conversation. One's watching TV on this side, one's on the computer over here, no real communication. And what ends up happening is you're not able to exchange ideas. You're not able to talk about, dreams. You're not able to talk about hopes. You're not able to talk about your feelings. You're not able to connect. Intentional time spent. I always say that, effort always equals interest, but whatever is important to you in life, you have to be intentional about spending time on it, and that includes the relationship. That includes it. And so intentional time. So that may mean, okay, every Friday we're having dinner together, or every night we're having dinner. In my household, it's every night we have dinner together as a family. I try to rearrange my schedule so that I'm at home with my family having dinner. And if I get home too late to have dinner with my boys, my wife and I are having dinner at 11 p.m., 12 midnight, but we are communing together, right? This is very important. We talk about, weekly dates, but the whole bottom line is spending time. This Saturday, my wife and I, we have a date, right? Yeah, 21 years into our marriage, still planning dates, still excited about the dates. It's intentional time spent. Intentional time spent. So, there's so many concepts, but I would say that if you just do those, if you just think about those basics, love language, right? Understanding that relationships are always a bid. It's always a bid back and forth, always. And sometimes you have to bid 5-6 times before you get the ball back, right? But it's always bid. And then it's intentional time spent. You typically grow together opposed to growing apart.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.